Hi, I'm going to be installing a arch window shade into our showroom display arch window. This arch window would act just like any arch window in your home. So what we should have ready to go for our installation, we've got our shade. This is the front of the shade. The back of the shade will have kind of this clear piece on the back of the shade. You should have a valance. I have already installed L brackets onto the valance so that the brackets are flush with the edge of the valance. You should have brackets for the shade. This is the top of the bracket. It will actually mount in the bottom of the window in this fashion, and this is the back of the bracket. So these will mount like that in the bottom of the window. You should also have a battery wand and a battery wand clip. Then you should receive some L brackets, a return cord guide. These small screws are going to be for your valance L brackets, and then a screw to screw in the return cord guide. So before installing the shade, I want to review the cords. So I've already unpacked the shade, and I've unwound the cords from their packing materials. On an arch shade, you're going to have the lifting cord, the cord that raises and lowers the shade, and then you also have a fixed guide cord. So the lifting cord is going to be attached to the back of the shade. It's going to go up to the top of the window, loop around your top cord guide, and then it goes back down and goes into the center of the shade. The other cord, the single cord, is the guide cord. That's just going to go up to the top of the window and attach to the cord guide. So I've already installed the brackets for this installation, but I want to talk about positioning the bracket. You want to mount the bracket, so this side of the bracket is the part mounting down, and you want to mount it far enough back so that you have a nice flush mount at the front edge of the window of the shade and then the valance. So far enough back so that the valance will fit inside the window opening. So our brackets are installed far enough back to allow for a flush mount. I've got the shade in hand. I want to have the cords hanging off the front of the shade so they're free and clear, and then we're going to mount it into the brackets. We want to catch the back of the shade, the head rail, underneath the lip of the bracket without catching any material. So just the head rail. You want to make sure there's no material caught in these brackets. Then we're going to push the bottom rail down so it pops in to this portion of the bracket. So I'm going to pull the shade material up on both sides, push it under the top of the brackets, then just gently push it back, and that snaps it into place. Then I'm going to kind of center it. I can push the shade back and forth in the brackets to get it centered in the window. All right, so now we've got our shade mounted in the bottom of the window. We want to take a quick measurement of where the cord exits the top of the shade to the front edge of the window. So I'm just going to measure that from where the cords exit the shade and just kind of eyeball it to where the front edge of the window is. And then I'm going to take that same measurement at the top of the window and mark the top of the window the same distance back. I'm going to make a mark in the window. And that's where we are going to want the front edge of our cord guide to align once we install the cord guide. So I've mounted the cord guide at the top of the window. It's the front edge of the cord guide is lined up with the mark we made in the previous step, and then the groove in the cord guide is centered in the arch. So then I'm going to take the lift cord, the cord that attaches to the back of the top of the shade. It goes up and around and then back down into the shade. I'm going to slip that over the cord guide, and I have left the cord guide about 1/8 of an inch loose so that I can get these cords in there. So I've slipped that cord guide, the lifting cord, into the cord guide groove. Then I'm going to take the guide cord, the fixed cord, and run that in through the front of the groove and around the back, around the screw. And you want to make sure the lifting cord is loose and free and clear of that guide cord in the cord guide at the top of the window. I'm going to wrap that around a couple times so it's nice and tight. Then I'm going to screw in the cord guide the rest of the way and just center it and straighten it out so it's nice and straight front to back. Make it a little bit tighter. And then we want to make sure when we're doing that our guide cord is nice and tight like a guitar string. So now that we've finished installing our shade and our cords and the guide cord and the cord guide, we can attach the battery pack. Because this is an arch blind sitting in the bottom of the window, we don't really need to use the battery pack mounting clip. So I'm going to set that aside for now. At one end, you're going to have a connector that you can plug in to the barrel connector that is coming off the motor from the shade. So I'm going to just plug that in, and then literally we can just set that behind the shade. Now we've got the cords installed on our cord guide, we are ready to install our valance. I have already installed the L brackets onto the valance. You want to position those so that when you slide them under the head rail, they won't interfere with the mounting brackets for the shade. And these are just going to, the L brackets are just going to simply slide underneath the head rail. And then you can secure the L brackets behind the shade with a screw to hold the valance in place. And so we've got the shade, valance, and cords installed. Let's give it a run. Great, that's installing an arch blind that works for arch blinds, straight-sided arches, and half-round arches.